Hello and welcome to today's Techie Tea Party. Yesterday we were focusing on docs and looking at some of the features and how you can collaborate on a document. Today we're going to be taking that a step further and looking at how can we share documents so people can access them really nice and easily. So the first way to do that, if I'm within a document that I've been working on that I want to share, is I can come up to the top right hand corner and I can click share. I can then easily type in someone's name who I want to send it to. Depending on how your Google's set up, you might have a directory of people and just search a name, may give you that option. Or you might just want to type in their email address. I can then click this option to the right hand side, and that sets what they're actually able to do with it. So edit means that they can change, they can add, they can make it however they want it. Comment means that they can give that feedback with the little speech bubbles like we looked at yesterday. And you've then got the third option that it's just to view. So it is purely for information for them to access. So for this, I'm going to change it to view. And you do also have the option underneath to notify people. So that's to actually give them an alert to say you now have access to this. So depending on how important it is, you may choose to tick that on or off. You will notice that we do have it advanced in the bottom right hand corner. If I click that, it first of all gives me a link that I can share with people. So this might be useful if you want to post it in a forum or social media for more people to access. Maybe I've made a really great resource that I think people might want to get their copy of. I can share that with them. We've then got an overview of who all has access to this. So if you decide actually I don't want all those people to have access, you can then just cross it off and they will no longer have access to that. And then at the bottom here, you see that there's two different options. The first option is prevent editors from changing access and add new people. So if this is a really private piece of work that maybe you only want one or two people to see, you don't want them to then add more people to see it, that might be a good option. And you've got the other option that stops them from downloading, printing, or copying. So again, depending on what you're using the document for, that might be useful to have. If I click Save Changes, it'll remove that person. I know to change anything else there. So then I've got myself added to now be a viewer. I just click OK, and we'll click OK again, and then that's it being sent. And again, that would go through if it was an appropriate account. So that'd be the first way to share nice and easily. Another way we can do it is if we come to File in the top left-hand corner, we've got the option to email it as an attachment. So I simply click that. At the top, you'll see attach as, and I can choose whether I want to attach my document as a PDF, as a Word document, or as another file. And there is also the option at the bottom that will just be pasted within the text. So I always think PDF is a good option because it's more accessible on a lot of devices and it doesn't require most people to have anything else on their system. So I'm going to choose that. Who, again, you're typing an email address. You can add your subject and you can add a message. And what's really nice is at the bottom, you've got the option to send a copy to yourself as well. You then just click send, and that will then send off as an email from either your EduBuzz or your Gmail account that you're using. Of course, you've also got the option to download the file and to use it as you normally would, any of those options we just talked about. If you go to download, you've got all these different options of saving it as well. So that makes sense as a way of having it downloaded, whether you then need to print that off or you're wanting to save it onto a USB to give to someone or whatever other functionality, there's an option. So that's the kind of main ways that I would share things within a doc. We then have also the option, if we go up to my drive, that you may have it set up if I go to my EduBuzz account, that you have shared drives. So you can see here, these are the different drives that I'm part of. So you may have a shared drive as a department or a faculty. You might have one as a school. You might have one in your cluster, or maybe even as a whole authority, a working group, or whatever. Shared drives are spaces where you can all access the same documents. So an easy way is that I've got all my files here. You can see up here it says last modified. That's what you want to filter them by. And I've chosen to have it by the most recent. So then it would be a case of is find the document that I want to share. So if it's this one here, I can then drag it across into Seek Digital, and then it'll be copied into there, or fully moved into there as is. So then that means that everyone in that shared drive, or who has access to that shared drive, will be able to then access it. We'll be looking at this in a future Techie Tea Party. So if you're not sure about drives and folders, don't worry. But I thought it was useful to point out. The third way we're going to look at how we can share documents easily is in Google Classroom. We know just now that we've got a lot of teachers using it for the first time, and this is a nice, easy way of sharing them with our students. So if I come here, I go to my apps, and then I find Google Classroom. And for this, I've got my own test classroom set up. So all I'm going to do is then click in my classroom. Day one of Techie Tea Party was all about Google Classroom. So if you're not sure about setting it up, it might be worthwhile going back, having a watching of that, and taking part. So the first way is within our stream. So I would just click here for message, and I would say, "Good morning, all. Here is today's document." Underneath, there's then the option to add. So all I'm going to do is click add and choose to add it from my Google Drive. That will then pop up with my most recently accessed document. So this is the one that I want to share here. So I just click on it and choose add. You'll also notice there when there's add, there's the option of a file. That's if you're wanting to upload it. So maybe you're on your PC at home, you've got something that you've stored in your My Documents, you've decided actually I want to share this. This is what you'd click. You'd choose file, you'd then come to upload, and you would either drag across the file you want to upload, or you would click select files, that would take you into the window explorer. You'll also notice here that it says all students. If this was only for specific students, you could actually click this and then untick all students and just tick specific students you want. So if I had a big list of 20 different students, I could set that only certain students could see that. Then what you'll notice is over here, I've got the option to click post. I can also click here and choose to schedule it for later as well. So this is useful as maybe you're planning the things in advance, you want them all to go up at different times, you can schedule instead of posting. So I post, and then that is the document there. However, that document's been created, the settings in terms of permission, in terms of who can access it, that still stays the same. So even if I've got it set that only I can access it, it'll still get posted. I won't be warned about that. So be careful with this, because there's a chance that I might have posted that. Students come on, they click on the document, they can't access it. They'll be very quick in telling you about that. I'm sure you may go get a few comments about it. It's worthwhile bearing that in mind. That's why I think for me, I'd be more tempted to go to the option of classwork, to click create, and create it as an assignment. So I'm going to name it quickly as today's learning. And again, we've got add at the bottom. You'll also see there's the option to create. So you can create a document right in here that you're wanting to share with your students. Again, I'm going to click add, go to my Google Drive, and it'll come up with my most recent. I can search for specific things if I want. If there's something maybe from a while back, especially if you're using this drive over a few different years, there might have been a great piece of work that you remember from a few years back. This is a nice place where you can easily upload a document and reuse it. So if I click Stuart's example, you'll then notice that it comes up, students can view the file. So that would mean that they can click on it, they can read it. So that'd be really good if you're sharing reading materials, or maybe an example of what a really good story would look like, something like that. Students can edit the file. So that's when you want everyone to collaborate. So maybe you've made this for a group who are reading Goodnight, Mr. Tom, and they're to come on and to add their own opinions and have a discussion around that. That would be when you use that option. The one for me that is really powerful is make a copy for each student. So what that means is when they come on, they'll be able to click on that document and it'll actually make a copy just for them that both that student will have access to and you'll have access to. So for me, that is the best option to go for. You've then got your options of changing these things at the side, when it's due, points awarded, things like that. If you're wanting to know more about that, maybe check the previous one. And again, you can choose certain students. So like I said, for that example of a reading book, with only certain students accessing it, you could change that to select it there. Then it's just a case of clicking assign at the top. And then that will appear within their classwork. So you can see that that has popped up there.